What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the KoloCast, a weekly podcast here from the folks at the Kolosseum. My name is Mr.Aquaman, and I'm joined by the one and only Flashyy over there. What's going on, man?
What is going on, Aquaman? Happy to be here as always. I'm super excited for this week. We got an awesome guest, and I just can't wait to get into it. So bring him in. Bring our guest in. Let's do this.
It is going to be... Wait, wrong side. I was over here.
That side.
I went over there. You know what? I'm just going to keep this going anyway. It is going to be none other than Coach Steve. Coach, you've been around for a very long time in this community. Our previous guest couldn't say enough about you. It was Gur. It's someone you're very, very close and familiar with. And you even reached out immediately saying, I would love to be a guest on here. So we had to have you come on. But someone who's been there, done that, I think that you are the definition of experience and broadening your horizons in this space. Welcome to this show. And can we start off with you telling us a little bit about your journey here in the fighting game, competitive, and content creation space?
Well, what's going on, everybody? Coach Steve here. Formerly, when I started 12 years ago, I was known as Insane back in 2009 to around 2014 area. But, when I started out back then, I was playing Street Fighter 4, just a kid just trying Street Fighter again, like 15 years old, just on a controller, mashing and all that. I didn't know that there was a competitive scene that actually existed outside of online, because that was the first fighting game I played online, right? And I think that's I don't want to say it was the first one that was actually online, but that was the biggest one at the time, because that was Street Fighter revitalized, and then I was competing mostly online through gamebattles.com, and that would really just be I'll get home from school, not do my homework, and just play Street Fighter for 10 hours. And then, same thing over and over, Monday through Friday, because I'm 15 years old with no real responsibilities. So, but that's how I got the competitive drive for that kind of this kind of genre. Because before that, when I was 11 to 12, I was playing a lot of shooters competitively instead. So that kind of transition was a little different, but competing, the mindset is still kind of similar.
So when I'm assuming you found game battles through, was it playing Call of Duty and you found game battles and you're like, I'm going to transition this over to Street Fighter?
Yeah, we were playing Gears of War.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on a second.
Coach,
Coach, you may have blown my mind a little bit. First and foremost, I didn't know you were a dirty 09er, just like I am. And second off, I had the same exact kind of intro into fighting games. I first tried Gears of War competitively before fighting games, at the same exact transition around the same exact time. That's pretty crazy.
So it goes a little deeper than that. Before Gears of War, before 360 came out, I was playing Metal Gear Online, Metal Gear Solid 3 Online, and played that a lot. Metal Gear Solid Online, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, anything with competitive ladders, pretty much. Me and my brother played those hours on end. And then when Gears of War came out, then pretty much was a hard focus on that, and Call of Duty 4 for a little bit, but I still Gears of War 1 a bit more. But that's pretty much how the competitive started. It was always there, just wanting to be better than somebody. And then somebody's better than me, I can't stand it.
Did you find that the one-on-one aspect of fighting games is what kind of drove you to it, and that you don't have to rely on other people for winning?
Because I'm not a fan. Yeah, at the end of the day, I realize I'm not too much of a fan of team-based games. Because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna lose, I want it to just be solely on me, and then not I really lost because of somebody else. No, because then you kind of just fall into this really bad mindset that it's never gonna be your fault. And then I think
which fighting game players still find a way to avoid.
It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. And I was like that for a while too. I think it's because the background that I came from is just everything else around me is the reason why I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a hard time blaming yourself. But then you can't really get better that way, because you're not even looking for what you did wrong. You're just looking for something to justify what how you lost.
So my question is, now you're playing a lot of game battles online. How did you find the offline competitive fighting scene?
So I found out about shoryuken.com. Didn't know it was a thing. It's I didn't know this forum existed. And then I seen people like advertising like tournaments like in a lot of like different areas. So I'm like, wait, so there has to be some in New York, right? Like, and then like I just kept looking and looking until I found something that would like either something that like my dad can drive me to, or something that's like close enough or in the city that I can like go on my own. So the very first tournament I went to offline was a it was in White Plains, New York. My family took me there. Me and my brother were playing, uh, and it was cool because like there were like 20 something people there. Like I'm just like like meeting new people, or like talking to people about the game, or like what I feel like I know about the game, and it's playing a lot of like different styles, and like the environment just felt different like from the offline. I mean, from the online, because like I'm kind of nervous like being right next to somebody I don't really know like that,
Right.
playing like just playing Street Fighter or playing like in a bracket style kind of thing. And I remember my first match was it was against somebody named Grand Cow. And this tournament, by the way, they had uh like like preset controllers and stuff for you. I think it was like
Ooh.
yeah, it was like
Oh
kind of one of
no.
those,
Mm,
right?
mm,
But I don't know who
mm.
Grand Cow talked to use like an arcade stick or whatever. But these controllers were pretty much like set for me to use. I'm like, okay, so I get on the controller and one of the buttons is busted. Like my heavy punch is pretty much like not working that well. I'm like, you got to be kidding
Mm.
me! Like this can't really be happening right now. I ended up winning that set. It was 2-1 last round. I ended up winning that set. I'm like, I don't know how the hell I just beat you with a busted controller, but sure, I'm gonna just keep going or whatever. Right? I ended up making it to grand finals of that bracket. And then what changed about the environment then was they put grand finals on this giant projector. And instead of like, like regular TVs or monitors or whatever. We were playing
Did you have to
grand
play off of
finals.
the
We had to
projector?
play grand finals off of this
Oh,
giant projector.
we've come a
Like I'm
long way,
15.
man.
I'm 15. I don't know anything, right? I don't know what's wrong with this. I'm just playing. I'm just like, cause even at home, I didn't have a monitor or anything. So we get on that projector, and then grand finals is also 4 rounds and 4 out of 7. I'm like, okay, I have a lot of room to work with, but this is also really fucking nerve wracking right now. The whole environment just changed and everything. Like, I got a better controller, which was fine, but then I end up running into Grand Calc again in grand finals, and I get swept like completely in front of everyone. I'm like, damn, this fucking hurt.
Oh my
Yo, I felt so embarrassed. I'm just like, yo, what just happened? Like, I was doing just fine. I was beating this shit out of everybody. I'm like, one of those tournaments. I'm like, I got in the car. I was just mad as hell on the way home. Like my prize was like some play and trade was around there, so I got like a $100 play and trade gift card or something like that.
God.
Like, I'm so mad I
I
really
mean,
let him beat me like that.
He's
that's
still
not
feeling
that's
it.
that,
12 years
that's
later,
honestly,
he's still feeling
hey,
it.
that is not the
Uh,
worst first tournament experience I've heard. As far
it's
as
not, but
as
that shit hurts.
you had a decent result, and you played on some crazy stuff. But all things considered, hey, took home a little bit of a prize there in your first tournament. Not too
A little
bad.
bit of a
Where
prize, yeah. It was definitely good.
just to
Definitely good.
piggy bank off of that, how long did it take you? And did you have bad tournament nerves and any shaky hands? And how long did it take for you to kind of get over that?
It kind of varied. I noticed that it varied from game to game, but in the
Ooh,
sense of Street Fighter 4, uh, and I feel like maybe my age has something to do with it. It was like I don't know. I felt like a lot like less nervous back in those days. It's like I don't know. Maybe there wasn't as much on the line or something like that. That might have had like something to do with it. Or like when I started going on my own, like my family is not right behind me, watching me and stuff like that. Because like that can be nerve wracking for anybody. Like I don't
oh
want my
yeah.
mom to watch me get smoked. Like, like nah. Because then you got to hear all kinds of bullshit. It's like, so what are you really playing for? Is it like everything you don't want to
Yes,
hear?
things. That hurts.
Like,
That hurts the
listen,
most.
yeah, I've heard all of this before. Like, all right, so,
Have you
but
ever had, okay, real quick, have you ever had someone's have you ever been beaten by someone whose mom is behind them and she pops off for their son
Yeah,
in your
I
face?
definitely
I've had
I've
that.
not in my
Oh my
face, but
goodness.
I've
Oh
definitely
my
had that
god.
happen before.
I
Oh,
had a mom pop off on me. But I got him in the run back. She was salty as heck afterwards. Felt so good. One of the best
you
feelings
got
of
the
all
run
time.
back,
But
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah. So
mm,
speaking of run back, like a few tournaments later, like I ended up running into Grand Calc again. I'm like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you this time. I studied this matchup so hard, waiting for you specifically. Like, because I
oh,
knew
those
I'd
are the
run into
best.
you again. Yeah, I knew
Those
I'd
are
run
the
into you
best.
again, and then I just sweep this shit. I knew it. I told you.
Mm,
I was ready for everything. It was actually
months.
it's good. It's good because it was like months down the road. Like
Mhm.
if I see him again, like every time I played that matchup online, I'm like, if I see him again, I already know everything I need
I
to do.
got this. I
Yeah.
got this. So now my question is, I asked her this exact same question, but I'm interested. I don't even think this. I have two questions, but the first one, what,
Mhm.
what was the moment where you kind of looked around and you were like, "Yo, this is what I want to do"? Because obviously you've always had that competitive drive. You're playing online, doing a couple tournaments. But what was that? If there was one moment or a couple of them where you looked around and
The
you're
very
like,
first
"This is
moment,
it."
yeah, I know exactly what it was. Actually, it was a Battlefield Arcadia back when Triforce was hosting for Street Fighter 4. We were in Brooklyn, and I go to losers. I think pretty early. There's like 50 people in this bracket, and this is maybe like my fourth or fifth. Like I think like offline tournament. I think like maybe like my fourth. And I win my first match. Then I have to play Sanford Kelly, and then he beats me pretty bad. Like this matchup really sucked. And at that time, Sagat was like the best character in the game because it's still the vanilla version. So I ended up beating like a lot of. I didn't know they were like who they were, but everybody's watching me beat all these at the time really strong players. They're just like, who is this kid? It's just like every time like I'm doing something, like, I just hear people like just like start screaming and stuff like that. I'm just like, man, I must be doing good shit because this is cool. I end up playing against Jerron Grayson, who's like ended up like becoming like a mentor to me. And I was like the first time I played him in tournament, and we played like a really close set that I won. And then I'm just like, yo, I think this might be like it. I think I'm just gonna just keep playing this and put down everything else because at the time like I was losing interest in everything else already as it is. So I think now I'm just like I think I can really focus on this. And then like the match afterwards, I had to play Dominion, and I was up 2-0, and I ended up kind of just like fumbling from I started getting like a little more nervous. I think maybe the crowd like started getting to me there, but
Ooh.
that was one of like my better tournament performances. Despite that, probably my best one at that moment in time because the
And you
caliber
finally
of
just looked
player
around and
I
you're
didn't have
like,
that before.
and you were just like,
Yeah, it
"This is
was.
it. Like, this is
Yeah,
it
I think
for
I
me."
was like, yeah, I think this is really what I want to do.
And so what, you were 15 at that point? You were saying that was like your fourth or fifth online? You were what, 15 or
Yeah, it
16?
was like 15. Yeah.
Jeez, man. Long time ago. And then through that time, so now my second part of this question, me and Aquaman were talking about it before you jumped on the call where we're like, this dude has arguably been one of the best players in probably like 14 different fighting games. I just want
Yeah.
to ask you real quick. There's a couple of
Quite a
ways we
lot.
could go, but I just want to ask, what has been your favorite out of all the games that you've
Mm.
competed in, all the moments in time, all the years that you've played? What has been your favorite just time period, and what game was part of that?
Uh, there's two. It's Ultimate Marvel 3 is absolutely number one, and then Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Ooh,
A lot of people
classic.
like kind of shun that game a bit, like some within reason, some not. But uh, that game did a lot for me actually. I think Marvel did a
Could you
fuck ton
can
for
you
me,
speak
but
to
I
that a
think
little
Street
bit? Is
Fighter
in
Cross
terms of
Tekken.
like what did it do for you specifically? Just like content wise, giving you
Yeah.
more
So
confidence in yourself. What
so
was it?
remember I was saying like Jerron Grayson, a hero. He's like a mentor to me. It really like came like from that game as well. Like it carried from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter Cross Tekken because like they're kind of like similar style games as far as like like characters, like how frame data functions and everything like that. But he really taught me a lot about like just the neutral aspect period in games, like in like kind of certain scenarios that I'm gonna see pretty often from maybe newer players and some older players. And then like it got to a point with us where like there were times where we would like play for hours, and we would probably like switch between the two games, and then there would also be times where we would just talk for like 5 hours about whatever about the games, about anything else, and all of those things like combined, I think, kind of just propelled my mind to like some extra shit. To be honest, 'cause,
That's
like,
You got the
hey,
galactic brain from that.
hey,
yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna
think
lie.
it was just incredibly helpful.
Sometimes you need that like extra shit out there. That galactic brain. Why would you ever do that? Well, I had a reason, and it's because it worked. So
Yeah,
that's
he's
exactly
always been like that number one for me in that area. Like when I was growing up, him and Dominion as well, for sure.
when we were talking to Gurr and Gurr brought this up. He said that you are kind of that guy for him. Nowadays and
Yeah,
for the past few years. And can you talk about that a little bit? In kind of how that's been in more recent years for you.
it kind of when it started, it kind of like just happened. Like I have this like kind of intuition when I feel like somebody can just use that extra push to just go, and then like if they want it, they're just gonna get it after that. So I just keep like trying to push like a little, like not too much because I don't want like deter you away from shit. I want you to like grow and get better from everything. So like I kind of seen like how he react when he loses, or like like how his matches will go and stuff like that. Just like really like pay attention. Just like even if we don't play, like I think I can probably say something that can really help you out if you take it in. And then like that kind of just like snowballed into just me teaching him like more and more like kind of things. It really started, I think, maybe like around like the MKX days, I'd say. And then
What kind of
yeah, and
inspired
I
you to
just
do that? Because I feel like I was telling Aquaman, I was like, I feel like we're kind of in a space, especially with fighting games, where a lot of people will kind of just look out for themselves, right? And it seems like you saw Gur, and what kind of made you go up to him and be like, I want to help this dude
I
out? Is it just that you're
I
like,
was
I
just
know he can
never
be great?
I was just never like that to just look after myself before like anyone else. Like I want
Mhm.
to like help people,
Right.
So like if I see like certain things, I can just take the initiative and just go up to you and just, like kind of tell you what I'm thinking about. Even if I don't know you, I mean like you can take it however you want to take it. But
I can speak from a lot of experience, having hung out with you a lot at events over the years,
yeah,
that he's just a very outgoing individual and very easygoing. And I think that even a couple times with us, it's just walking up and saying, "Hey, what's up?" and then getting
yeah,
into some
that's pretty
shenanigans.
much it. Yeah.
And speaking of getting into shenanigans with you, I meant to take
Oh,
the
I'm
shot when
ready.
we started. I meant to
Yeah, no,
take the
I've
shot
been
when we
ready. It's
started.
okay.
Me and Coach are actually really good drinking buddies offline, and so this I fucking miss you, Coach. And you have your own shot
I miss
glass.
you
Look at
too. I do
look
have
at
my
that.
shot.
Everyone watching from home, look at his shot glass. Can people
Branding,
buy that,
branding,
Coach?
people, learn it. Learn the
Nah,
Can
this
people buy
branding.
this
that
was
somewhere?
actually this was actually
No,
made
that's
for
his
me as a
only.
gift.
You
Yeah,
guys are
this is one of
screwed.
a
One of
kind.
one. One of one.
But
Cheers, brother.
Coach, miss you, buddy. Cheers. Woo!
I love whiskey,
Okay,
man.
and that is going to segue us into my next question, which Coach
Yes.
is it's a two-parter. One, can you
Mhm.
think of off the top of your head just how many fighting games you've played at what you would consider a high level?
I may be finally reaching double digit. There's potentially double digit. I
Okay,
would actually
so
have to list through like all the games that I played, but almost everything I touch, I've played at the high level or like the highest level. So
which is insane because so many fighting games exist,
yeah,
and they're all
it's
so
like I don't like
they're all
stay at the top, or like
yeah.
sometimes it might take me like time to get there, and then I stay there. Like one or the other could happen, but it's definitely been quite a few.
That's insane to me because I struggle with one at a time. Like I've told you, I mean, I can name Injustice One, just in the
Mm,
NRS community at four. Like half of it's just NRS, right?
yeah,
Um, of course, Injustice One through Mortal Kombat 11, and then you have Street Fighter Four, Street Fighter Five. Would you say?
Street Fighter Five early on.
Yeah, early
Definitely
on
not
we've got
now, but definitely like season one ish in my
Dragon
area.
Ball Fighters, Street
Dragon Ball
Fighter
for
Cross
sure.
Tekken.
Hmm.
Would you say Killer Instinct?
No, No,
Pokken.
I was I Pokken, yeah. Killer Instinct, I came late to the party. I was doing good for myself though. Like I was like talking to a lot of the top players and like playing them. I was actually doing like really good for myself. But I never got to like that top level. It was a
All
fun
right, well,
experience though. I definitely learned a lot.
I got to 9 off the top of my head, which
But
is
yeah,
pretty
there's Street,
crazy.
Street Fighter
So, I
4,
mean, that's
Marvel 3, Marvel
Marvel.
Infinite.
Oh, well, there's 10,
There's
11.
your
Yeah,
10th.
you're up
That's
there.
that's
You're up
double
Yeah,
there,
Marvel
buddy.
digits.
3,
Trust
Marvel
me.
You hit
Infinite.
it.
You
You
Yeah.
are
hit it.
So
you are more than
uh
up there. And so I have a follow-up question. Do you feel, because it is so different from a lot of people in the FGC that kind of stick to their lane or stick to the one game and then the one developer, do you feel
yeah.
that playing so many different games and so many different genres and subgenres of fighting games has helped you as a player over the years in kind of expanding your knowledge and implementing it from one game to another?
It definitely has, but there can be times where I am spreading myself too thin, especially when like I'm also like not there yet for like particular games. So like if I know I'm playing multiple games at a time, like I have like certain kind of like strategies like how I'm gonna approach the games. So like I think a good example would be let me see. I'm trying to think of multiple games that were out at once. So 2014, we have Ultimate Marvel 3. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was on its way out, pretty much. We have Injustice 1. And then Street Fighter 4 was still big.
Street Fighter 4 at the time, yeah.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4 was still big. So those four games, let's say. I don't know which one was the latest one. I'm pretty sure it was Injustice.
Injustice was 2013, which would have been pretty
Yeah,
close.
so it came out after the other game. So basically, what I would do is, uh, well, try to do. I know how to play Marvel. I'm already a top player in Marvel. I can put this down, not put it down, but like I can limit my time just to make sure that my mind is fresh for that game, and like I could be okay with like like maybe like an hour or two a day with that. That's fine. I can just push that away. Street Fighter 4, very similar. Cross Tekken, even less time because it's also on its way out. And that leaves Injustice, which is going to take a lot of my focus because I'm learning something new while trying to keep like all the other games like fresh in my head too. So a lot of my hours during that time actually went to Injustice One, uh, training mode, tournaments, just focused on Injustice and things like that. A lot of my playtime went to Injustice, and then like whenever I'm not playing anything, I'm probably studying one of the other games, just to like keep my mind like like okay, I still got to remember like these kind of situations in case I do end up like playing this game in the near future, and then there would be like no actual signs of like rust or anything like that. So I played Injustice One probably like 7-8 hours a day.
Jeez,
Like
man, that on top of the hour of the other games just
Oof.
to kind of stay warm. That's a serious
yeah, because
grind right there.
the thing is
That's
like
a serious grind.
I lost some sleep. I lost some sleep. Like like for me like that kind of was what it was. But like I put a lot of emphasis on studying, and especially because of Jiran and Dominion too. Like they sit there and study a lot. I'm just like, why are y'all doing this? I remember like when I first asked them, like, why are y'all watching
Hmm.
like all this old footage and stuff like that? Like when it was broken down to me, I'm just like, I get it. Like I get it. So
Yep.
I got accustomed to doing it. Eventually, like I started to really enjoy doing it, so it didn't really bother me. I wasn't really affected by the time. And then like you learn like little tricks, like with YouTube. Like once you see, let's say like at Marvel, right? Person gets a hit, and then they do a TAC infinite, right? TAC infinite. If you guys don't know, like when you launch them in the air, you press like side special attack, and then most characters they just have an infinite combo accessible from doing that. So when I see that this happened in the match, you just simply fast forward, and you're gonna save yourself a lot of time. You probably see this pretty often in the match too. So you really want to focus on what's happening in the neutral and how the
Hmm.
person got hit. If you got to rewind to that, because that's more important than watching the TAC Infinite. You don't care if they drop it or not, right? It's just, this is how he got hit. If he dropped it, he should have died. So
Yeah.
then, if he did drop it, then you focus on the recovery aspect. How does the person that dropped it recover from it? Do they? and things like that just kind of like factor into studying. Well, I
How do
definitely
you?
enjoy it.
Fighting games are complex, man. They really are.
There's a lot to it. I enjoy it a lot.
Okay, so maybe that's the answer there. But playing only fighting games or whatever you do for 12 years, playing at a high level, you got all these different games. How do you avoid the burnout? Burnout is a very common thing in our
You
space,
can't
whether it's
avoid it.
competing. You just so what would you
I
do
don't
to
think you
get
can avoid
through
it
it?
actually.
What did you do to get
Um,
through it?
I think breaks are just inevitable, but you got to be like you don't want to take too long of a break. You don't want to take like too short of a break. That's really person dependent. For me, like breaks are kind of hard. For me, like a break is literally like a day or two, if that. But like,
God.
Hey,
uh,
even like one a week just to reset yourself, mentally.
no,
That's
yeah,
kind of
especially
insane.
these days now, like where there's just a lot of like footage, a lot of people playing the games. If you lose one day, you'll feel like you fell behind, like just
Yeah.
like that. Like that's how insane it is right now. But I do think the burnout is definitely just inevitable. You could take a day to like stop playing and then like maybe just like watch other streams, like study old matches and things like that. Even like study some of your old losses, like your like old losses to new losses. Like have you lost the same way for the last like 4 years? Like there's a lot of different things that you can do that like don't actually have to be playing to make sure that you're still involved and like active.
Almost the same thing could be applied to content creation as well. Not just with YouTube, but also like live streaming, and even here at the
Yeah,
Coliseum.
live
It's
streaming. Yeah,
yeah, it's like
it's
on a
rough.
day, on a day where you're not feeling it. You can always see what everyone else is doing. Turn on a tournament and be like, wow, they're doing some really cool shit, and then get kind of inspired a little bit to
Yeah,
step up your own stuff.
take a day to
You
relax,
know?
and like see you can monitor everybody else's progress while like having a mental note of yours. Like that's what I'm doing mostly right now, like with Guilty Gear, because like the game is like relatively new. I'm still not playing it as much, but I'm watching a lot though, and then, like
You're
just to see
absorbing.
like yeah.
So
I
Aquaman
think
brought up
it's not a bad strategy to avoid burnout, but I think that period it will come for everybody. Like you're gonna have to take like at least a small break.
So to segue that, Aquaman brought up content creation, and we talked a little bit about it on like the pre-call here. But again, I went into your YouTube. Everybody knows here I'm the YouTube guy. All I do is talk about YouTube. And I was even telling Aquaman, I was like, dude, I feel like I just brainwashed all of our guests to be YouTubers. But you've been doing it for like 12 years now, man. I think your first video was a Street Fighter 4 video from 12 years ago. So my
Yeah,
question now
YouTube
is
for
like,
me was always on and off back then because I was
mhm,
younger. Like for YouTube, I'm just like for me it's like montages because like Years of War in my head. I'm like
yep,
I just see
oh yeah,
montages, so I'm like combo
Gotta have
picking.
the
oh yeah,
Yeah,
montage. Gotta have the
so
montage.
yeah,
good,
like things
man,
like that.
so
Yeah,
good. So
yeah.
now looking to the future, I know you're doing your live streaming thing, you're doing the YouTube thing. I think you got like 3 videos a week minimum going on. Where is it that you kind of
Mhm.
want to take the content side of things? As I mean, I'm sure you're still competing and all that, but are you kind of trying to move away from competing and into content, or do you want to flip that and go back into competing? What's kind of your plan of action here in terms of what you want to do personally?
So there's a few avenues that this can go, right? And like I'm still like in the process of like kind of mapping it.
Hmm.
So in 2020, when we were pretty much on lockdown, I had to make a choice: stream or not stream, and then like upload videos or not. That's pretty much my
Hmm.
choice is very black and white. I'm like, okay, stream, upload. I need to make money. It's a very simple choice when you just put it like that. So okay, so now you got to start building one. You can start building both at the same time. It's a little bit more difficult, but I'm working with Twitch first because I'm already partnered with Twitch, and then I got to just build the fan base, or the main base, like the core of my Twitch, and then like we can go from there, like see how I want to like really take it. YouTube was a little different because the requirements are different. Like uploading, you need like a certain amount of watch time hours and stuff like that. And then it's
Hmm.
like, how do you get those? Nobody's watching my content, things like that. Like it gets like kind of discouraging. Uh, I notice like YouTube is easier. Like I felt like I was like a little blessed in this category because when we was playing like a Dragon Ball over like last summer, we had a lot of like high level sets through Parsec and stuff like that. So we would be playing with Sonic Fox, Hook Gang God, uh, the East Coast best players and stuff like that. So then I'm like, why would I not upload? It's like, why would I just not put
Exactly.
this on YouTube? You know, so like things like that pushed my YouTube to where it is now. Uh, and it gave me the idea of, you know, I could be that guy that hosts all of these, like, you know, these really competitive rotations, so people can always get their fill of like the higher level gameplay and stuff like that. And then the downside to that is, you know, not everybody's always available because we're online. Not everybody's really like, you know, trying to play all the time. So I'm like, you know what? Right now, we'll take what I can get. I think I still kind of want to go that route. I can also go the route of like building up, like, you know, newer players and stuff like that, letting them get the spotlight, and then like while I just like kind of sit back and watch and talk about like, you know, what's happening or what they could be doing. And you know, like I think there's a few ways that I can like really go about this, but I think I have to decide on one, so that way like people know what they're coming to my channel for.
I'm
Because right now, like,
in
you know,
terms
like
of
there are
that.
things that are like kind of all over the place, you
Yeah,
know. But if you're just that one channel, like let's say like if it were to like just work out like the way I want it to, like, oh okay, I know I can go to Coach Steve's channel because he has all the high level Dragon Ball that I can find currently while there's no tournament. You know, like there's something like that, and like, you know, like people have that like their category for their channel that you go there for. So you know,
I think a
that's
big
kind of
strength
like
for
how
you
I'm thinking about it.
a big strength for you and kind of avoiding that situation where it's like, oh, what if this person's not available or I can't do this? I don't have these sets. I think YouTube, a big part of it is just playing to your strengths. And dude, after 12 years of being in this game, I feel like the way you study and the way you analyze is probably unlike what anybody else fucking does. So I think what would be really
Yeah,
good for you, man, is to just, even if you have nobody that's willing to play, just take like a Evo match, sit down, put your mic on, and just talk about it, break it down, see what you notice or anything like that, bro, people would probably
yeah.
eat that shit
So
up because they learn
that
so
that
much.
was
So
the other avenue I was thinking.
yeah,
And then while I'm competing in all these online tournaments right now, I can also just have those
yeah.
tournament runs with analysis too.
I don't think you need
Because
to
Coach,
like
like.
at one time I was in like when Strive came out, especially I was in like 10 tournaments a week. Just like,
Mhm.
this is crazy, right?
oh,
But you know, like it was kind of wild.
I really
But
don't
yeah,
think
like
that you
I'm
need to like focus on one. I think if you are completely correct where it's like have your channel be the place to go. But I think,
yeah,
kind of have it a little more of a higher umbrella where it's just like my channel is the place to go where people want to learn and get high level stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be like it's only high level stuff because then you're kind of putting yourself in this little bracket, right? Be the
yeah.
guy where it's
I
like I
feel
want to
like
learn some Dragon Ball. I'm going to go to Coach Steve. You
yeah,
also
I
got a
feel like
perfect name
there's
for
that
it, bro.
aspect
You're
too.
coach in your
Yeah,
name. Like
dude,
it
that's what I
literally
was gonna
fits the
say.
brand.
That
It's
was
like
that's what I was gonna segue
yeah,
into.
yeah.
Coach, Coach, the name
coach
is
the
right
people,
there,
man. Coach the fucking
and
people, bro. That's what it should be.
yep, the experience is there. But you know, all the content that you put out has been fantastic so far. But just to piggyback off of Flashy, that's what I was thinking too. Was, and even a conversation we had with Gurr was very similar, where Gurr's brain is a very valuable resource for anyone that wants to learn fighting games, and yours is as well. And I feel like that would resonate with a lot of people in trying to understand what they're watching versus just watching something that's great without understanding it. And that
Yeah,
I feel like there has been a little bit of a drought in that kind of content in our community. Not to piggyback off what we talked about with Gurr, but
yeah.
you're almost a
I've
perfect
been
example
noticing
of the
that too.
experience.
I've been noticing that too. It's kind of hard for people to find like
Because it's a
it's
really
more
big
than just
barrier
it's
to
more than
cross
just
to get into fighting
tutorials.
games.
It's more than
Yep.
just like tutorials. It's like
Yep.
actually like breaking down like how these certain scenarios even came to life in the match. You know, so like that's not something that really like a tutorial can teach you. But
Exactly.
you know, like I noticed that especially um when Parsec Marvel 3 started like coming like really back to life. And then a lot of new people were like trying to get to the game. So they would come into multiple chats and be like, yo, do you know if there's any like tutorials where like we can learn about like the engine and the game mechanics and stuff like that?
No, do an
And
infinite.
we're just really like, you know, like me and Ray were talking about this at some point, and you're just like, yo, there's really like nothing for like newer players like that. Like it's really just
Yep.
it's not helpful for them to watch like, you know, like the high level matches as much as it is like, you know, like for the mid level to like the mid at like above average level. Like that, those higher level matches are helpful to them because like they already like kind of have a basis of the game. But like newer players don't know like team building, like how
Yep.
push blocks work and things like that, like the mechanics of the game, how you can use them to your advantage, how you can create like disadvantage situations for your opponents. Like they don't really know like how to do all that stuff, so it's hard for them to
Yeah.
get into it like competitively.
And with those type of videos where it's like top player versus top player, you know, they're watching this, and even if it's just cut from one of these top players' VODs, it's just them talking over it and having a good time. You
Yeah,
know, versus giving the viewer an insight as to what they're actually thinking about at the time, and or going back and talking about what they were thinking about, so that someone can learn potentially what exactly
yeah,
is going
because
on.
then that question will probably just be like remaining for them, like what makes them a top player, like what actually is separating them. Because
Yeah,
when I look at this video of Chris G versus Justin Wong, or versus like another video of like some top 16 qualifying match, I see the same thing because like they don't know what they're actually looking.
Yeah, I think you can really the opportunity of a market that you have is so big in terms of people wanting to learn these games. And then, like I said, like play to your strengths, man. You've been doing this shit for 12 fucking years. The way you look at a fighting game is probably, like I said, like nobody probably looks at it like that. The shit that you see and that's like calculating in your brain as you're watching a fight, nobody probably
Yeah,
fucking looks at it like that. So
if
if you
you
can
can
bring that to the
capture that,
people, yeah,
oh my
if you,
goodness.
dude, I'm
there,
telling
there
you,
are
and like,
moments when I'm like, yo, there's no reason to think here, but I could probably just tell them why there's no reason to think here. There's
Hey,
usually
exactly,
there's usually
exactly.
one
Coach,
clear cut answer.
hey, that is part of the experience though, is like, hey, in this situation, don't think and just throw an overhead or a low. Like, don't even overthink it,
Yeah,
just throw an overhead or a low in the situation. Moments like that do exist, but convey that to someone,
this is something like
because coach coach, we had this talk before even going live. Because in that situation, what if a new player sees that situation and was never told anything about it, and they overthink it, you know,
yeah.
going like, "Oh my God, should I do this? Should I do that?" When
You
if you
already
were to tell
lost.
them, "No, don't even think, just do it,"
Just
or
do.
Yeah,
you've
they're
already
just
lost.
frozen. They're frozen, and then
Mhm.
they already lost their chance to either defend correctly or like get that offense going. Like, and I
And
I learned that from mostly from Knuckle doing Sonic Fox. Those are two
oh,
players, like the probably the two best players in the world when it comes to absolutely zero hesitation. They have
mhm.
already decided what they were gonna do as soon as that scenario was created, and it it kind of just shows in their results, like in their gameplay. You could tell when
it's
Sonic already
disgusting to watch.
decided
Yeah.
when Sonic already decided they were gonna mash, or when Knuckle already decided like how he was gonna
Hmm.
try and get out of this pressure situation and stuff like that, what he was gonna do on your wake up and everything. There's no hesitation behind any of their decisions. And Evo champion, Capcom Cup champion, those kind of decisions are just it's crazy. And I learned a lot about that, like watching them and talking too.
Yeah,
And that's
I think the most important thing, man, is successful YouTube channels come from filling a gap. And I think the gap that you can fill is there's players that are here and they want to get here. And you know everything in this gray area in between on how to get to that other side. And I think again, like
Yeah,
Aquaman said, if you can
there's
capture
definitely
that,
a huge
bro,
void there. Like even
yeah.
if I don't know like your game extensively, that doesn't mean I can't help. Because like
mhm.
And
a
I
lot of
think, man,
situations that I've seen in any game, even if I don't know it, I can kind of like call out like there's
if you just
there's no
hyper hone
reason for
in
him to actually do that.
if you just
Like
hyper
things
hone
like
in
that.
on being the coach for these people, bro, whatever with whatever game it is that you're playing, I know Dragon Ball is huge, Guilty Gear is huge. If you could just be that channel, be that person for them, that they know they could
Yeah,
go there and learn something new, bro. You
I've been
could.
told this for
You want to
so
talk
many
about
years.
raking in? You want to talk about
Yeah,
raking? You want to talk about ad revenue, bro? Like, and not only
yeah,
that,
I've been told this
you
for
could be helping
years.
mad people. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
listen, you don't.
I'm a
We just met for
competitor
the
at
first
heart.
time.
I think
Yeah,
that's
you
why I
don't need me
haven't
to
done it
tell you
yet.
this. Yeah, you don't need me to tell
Yeah,
you this, but what I will say is, bro, like ad revenue, helping out people, growing the space, like those are all
yeah,
major opportunities for you. And dude, it would
definitely
come
good.
so naturally. All you gotta do is just turn the mic on and put a match on and press record. And the shit that you would teach people and the views that you could bring in, bro, it's uncanny. It would work, man. It would work. And like I said, it's our first time meeting, so you don't need me to sit here and tell you all this shit, but
No, of course.
it
Though.
would
It's
work,
a pleasure to
bro.
meet you.
It
I'm
would
definitely
work.
taking it all in, though. I
Good.
got you for sure.
That's
Hey,
good. Like,
and Coach Steve, ladies and gentlemen,
that's it, man, bro. That
one of the
was
best
yeah.
one of the
That was
best
it,
in the
bro.
And
business.
That's
Coach,
cool.
I think
I'm always down for people to like, hey, you can help me out any which way you can. Like, I'm
Listen,
always
you've helped a
listening.
bunch of people in this space. Let me at least tell
Mhm.
you, pop off on fucking YouTube and you'll be set for a very long time.
it's
Yeah,
only because
a
we
That's
lot
want
of
to see
people
all
what
be
help.
you
helping me,
exceed.
man. A lot of people help me more than they might think. So it's
That's
always good to
awesome.
see
Such a
people
humble
give
guy,
back.
dude.
Yeah, man. Coach, it's been an honor to have you on. I think we're going to go ahead and call it there. I'm going to give you the floor. If you want to do any shout outs, where can people find you? Where can people watch you? Anything, man. I'm going to give you the floor here on the KoloCast.
Oh yeah, first of all, shout outs, Mr. Aquaman and Flashyy. Much love. Had a great time tonight. Appreciate you guys having me on
Go.
here. Thank you so much. You guys can follow me on Twitter at FightCoachFight, as you guys can see right below. I stream pretty much every day on twitch.tv/I'm Coach Steve, and all of my YouTube uploads go to youtube.com/c/Coach Steve. So you guys can follow all that link, subscribe. It still is September, so you guys subscribe to my Twitch channel. At the time you see this video, you guys can get a 20% discount on your subscription and just show me some love. So appreciate you guys for having me on. Shout outs to my team, Proton, for holding me down for the entire pandemic. So thank you guys. And everybody that supports me, man. It means a lot to me.
And that's going to wrap it up for us. Everybody, like Coach Steve said, go follow him on everything. Go subscribe to his YouTube if you want to learn how to be a better fucking player, because this dude's about to pop off on it. But anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the KoloCast. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Twitter. We'll catch you guys next week.